Hey, what do you say? This is Boz and Men speaking out, and I'm here with my younger brother, who's also a podcaster. D Boz. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Salute, man. Thank you for inviting me out to your show. We definitely got to get you on off the record and get on that podcast as well. And we definitely need to get you on there for sure.
Right on, man. I appreciate it. I'll be an honored to be a guest. And also my man JD, who's been a long time friend of me and D Boz for 40 plus years. He's our brother as well. All the way from the Windy City, Southside Chicago. Give it up for JD. What's going on with you, baby?
Hey, good having me, man. Appreciate it, man. Hey, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you, man. Can't wait to start it off, man.
Yeah, started off exactly. We're going to get it started. But now, listeners and guests, we may have a few other individuals joining us, and we're going to kind of bring them in as they come. We do understand that this is a ad hoc type podcast, and we do understand that people have schedules, and we're going to kind of work with folks. But hey, stay tuned for the show. As you can see from the screen, we're sharing. The title of our podcast is that do you have the will to control your temper? And that is the title of the podcast. So we all know what's been going on in the media. And what I want to do real quick is I want to go ahead and play this clip. And I want you guys to see, look at all the cheer, all the laughter, all the smiles. Everybody's smiling in that picture, right? And that screen right there, everybody's smiling. All right. So let's see how it goes. That was a nice one. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back a little bit. I apologize. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. There it is. That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of it. Wow, dude. It was a G.I. Jane joke. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. I'm going to, okay? Okay. Now, right there, look at Chris Rock. He's probably thinking to himself, this motherfucker here just smacked me on international television. International television. But I commend Chris Rock. We commend him because he kept his composure. Now I'm going to take it back a little bit, right? Let's go a little further back. Let's go right about here. Okay? I'll play it again for those who are just not coming online. Check it out. Lord! Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? All right, now look at Will Smith right there, folks. Does he look like a man who got pissed off because Chris Rock made a joke about his wife? I mean, does he look like that? To me, smiling. The joke's been said, right? He's smiling right now, right? Now watch Jada. Oh, turned up nose ass. Look at that look right there. She pissed off. Will still smiling though, right? Will is still smiling. And look at Jada. She hotter than fish grease. But Will's still smiling. So at that point, he wasn't bothered, but she was. Let's go a little further. And to Chris Rock, it's okay. That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of it. All right, we're going to stop right there. I'm going to go ahead and take that off, and let's talk about it. All right. So, you see what happened. I'm not going to continue to play it because if you want to see more of it, you can go to YouTube and see whatever, But Will Smith was wrong. He was wrong. He was wrong. Did this leave a blemish on Will Smith's career, on his one of his, I guess, most prestigious nights of his career, winning an Oscar? What kind of impact did this make on him? And it wasn't Chris Rock's fault, right? We know for sure that Will Smith cannot take a joke, but Chris Rock can take a punch. We know that. So I guess my question is, was he wrong? And D-Boss, I'm going to start with you. Was he wrong?
Well, Will Smith was all the way wrong on this one. 100%, absolutely, with no hesitation, he was wrong. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why. Number one, you have another black man who is presenting an award, who is a comedian. They hire comedians to present awards, right? Mm-hmm. It happens year in and year out. Is no surprise. This is what it is. You know, your wife, who's not the bread earner, is running your household, sicked you up there like a dog to go after Chris Rock. And believe it, at the end of the day, Chris Rock is going to be the one who wins at the end of the day. He's winning. His shows are selling out, all because Will Smith was acted immature. It was very immature in how he responded to a joke, and his wife is responsible for that. But when your household isn't in order or in line, those are the types of things that happen. Will Smith was completely out of line. There's no excuse for what he did. And then his first initial response was to apologize to the Academy, mm-hmm. and not to his own brother. You know what I mean? They've done numerous of shows together. They've done Fresh Prince of Bel-Air going all the way back into the 90s. These guys have done work together. He knew that Chris didn't mean any harm. And you know what I mean? It was a joke. It was a light joke. He didn't call, you know what I mean? He didn't call your wife a slut for sleeping outside of her marriage and doing all these different things. You know what I mean? Being a hoe like she is. No, he didn't do that. He talked about G.I. Jane. That's it too, coming out. And for him to do that, completely out of line, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You are spot on. He was wrong. He was definitely out of line. He embarrassed himself. He left a blemish on his career because, like I said, this is going to turn into a meme. This is going to be part of songs. I'm going to slap you like Will slapped it, Pookie or whatever, right? So this is going to be something that's going to be a stigma that's going to follow him for as long as he has his career.
Because it's another example. It's another example of a beta man response. It's really what it is. You know what I mean? And in society, not society, but in America, because this is not how we get down in other countries, right? Mm-hmm. Other countries, we don't get down like that. That's Hollywood. That's how they get down. And we want to try to feed that into our families. And we just don't get down that way. But it's just another example of a beta man who's not running his household, going out and doing something foolish, and you embarrassed yourself.
Absolutely. JD, what do you think? You're on mute. I'll take you off mute. Go ahead. Hold on, JD. Your mic's on mute. Maybe your headphones. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I can't unmute you. Yeah, there you go.
You hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, that's he was totally wrong, man. I mean, like D-Boss said, they go way back, from doing shows and just seeing each other, period. He should have had already told that anyway, even if it was no way, he had to tell her, because like he said, that's what comics do, but he didn't talk about it. He just said G.I. Jane 2, which Demi Moore cut all her hair off. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was shocked on that. But I mean, she did it for more money. But then you look at it could be been a part 2. But I mean, it's gonna be a stain. I think, like you said, it's gonna be all the memes. It's gonna be this and that. I mean, you see them now. You get online and it's just They got the cartoons. It's whatever it is. Somebody else voice lapping over, you know, well, you come here, come on up here then. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
and then like
yeah,
right, you know
TikToks.
what I'm saying? And like D-Boss said too, now it's like it's everywhere, man. And I mean, it's fucked up. And I feel sorry for Chris, but like he said, hey, show's selling out because I think he just went on tour. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but then I hear too, couldn't have been a stunt. But you know, why do it? Why else black people got to do that on national TV anyway? You know what I'm saying? So, but hopefully they can reconcile. They say that the Oscars, they investigate it, and then by Will winning, he's supposed to present next year to Best Actress. Is he gonna be invited back? How they gonna do it? You know? So I mean, yeah, he was totally wrong, brothers. He was totally wrong. Everybody's saying that. And take my head off to Chris Rock, because a lot of people wouldn't let that fly. After he walked off, I'll be chasing that nigga right behind him and then jumped on him. You know what I'm saying? And then that's not, you know what I'm saying? And it's really, you know, from Will Packer, he produced it. You know, another brother, and here it is.
Yeah, the first time in history, Will Packer, a black producer, was in charge of doing the Oscars. And this right here, this incident took away from that. No one's talking about that.
Yeah.
No one's talking about Will Packer and him producing the Oscars. Everything is about Chris and Will and Jada in between. It took away from an historic moment being made. You know, and I understand Chris, Tanya saying Chris and Will have apologized on social media. That's all bullshit. That's all bullshit.
You know, what's interesting, Jamil, and there's the imam. Yes, sir. Always a pleasure to see the imam. He's like a second father. But
there you go.
Oh yeah, always. You know, when you in the presence of greatness, you got to make sure that we recognize greatness. So I thank him for coming on. You know what I mean? He's been on my podcast, and we had a great conversation. Glad he was able to join me and Speaking Out tonight. But to get back to what we were talking about is that we have to give Chris Rock more credit for what he did and how he responded as a soldier. You know what I mean? He was a soldier. He took that blow like a soldier, man. And he stood up for himself in such a professional, dignified manner that, you know what I mean? His children are watching. Can you think about this? Your children are watching and they see something like that happen to you on national TV and you respond the way you did. And then you go home and explain to them why you responded that way. Why? Because that's another black man right there. You see what I'm saying? That's why you don't respond that way, because that's another black man. And then, you know, we just don't want to continue to perpetuate violence and retaliation and things of that nature. Chris will get his day, but it just wasn't on that night, in my opinion.
Right. Iman, thank you for joining us. We appreciate having you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear and see you just fine.
Thank you. Well, my pleasure to be here. And thanks for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we asked the $1 million question tonight. Was Will Smith wrong? Please, we welcome your response.
Was Will Smith wrong?
Was he wrong?
Yes, he was wrong. I think they both were wrong to a degree. But Will Smith was definitely wrong. Yes, for so many reasons. You know, you just don't do that in that environment. Just 2 years ago, they had a complaint. The African Americans did. They said, we're not being recognized at the awards. We're not being invited. We're not being nominated. And then you finally get there where it's predominantly African Americans, and a fight breaks out, essentially. You know, so it was embarrassing in that regard as well. So I think Chris Rock was wrong. I think because it was just poor taste. But comedians, they have license, but there's also a limit as well. Uh, you know, but then for Will to respond the way that he done, it's just a bad message in so many different ways because he had many other options besides that to resort to violence. And it was as bad as violence is in our community, you know, it doesn't help at all.
Right. No, I totally agree with definitely most of what you said. I think, as Dow mentioned, or earlier, D. Boss mentioned earlier, you know, Chris Rock is a comedian. Yes, I get that, and there's a time and place for everything. Obviously, I believe that although he said what he said, and in some aspects, yes, it could have been done in a much better way, but that's still no excuse for Will getting up and walking on stage and slapping him at all
Right.
on
I
a
agree.
national, on an international platform. There's no excuse. So, and although, like I said, Lola, she says in the chat here, Regina Hall's opening statements when she said something about the guys on stage, and Will was like, Will, come on up here, about their basically indirectly talking about him and Jada's relationship too, but that's something they put out there. So here's another question around that. Okay. The question I have is, what do you think drove him to that? What do you think made him get up and assault Chris Rock when seconds before he was laughing at the joke himself?
Jada.
Yeah.
Jada.
Okay.
Jada did it.
Okay.
He laughed first. They both looking at Chris Rock. They
Right.
both looking at him. So, he looking at him. He not looking at her, but they laughing. He probably like kind of and looked over at her. Probably gave a look. No, woo, and then everything just changed. Now the camera don't stay on them like that. But I think if you found somebody probably with a camera that made, because he did pan away, and after that, hey, fixed his suit, he jumped on up, and Chris was like, oh, okay, he come Richard, because he calling me,
Yeah.
Richard Will,
Yeah.
oh, Richard. And man, not knowing what's gonna happen, and so I think it was her. Like I said, I think you go back to 2016 when he made the joke when he hosted the Academy. So I mean, it was her because he laughed. He a comedian himself, so it's come on now. It's
So Will got into character, or was he out of character? To answer that question.
he was out of he was. I know, right? Yeah.
Right, exactly. Was
Both, right?
Or was he Will Smith? Exactly.
Well, let me ask you a question, if I may.
Yes.
Okay, if you were sitting in Will's chair wearing Will's shoes, and you a comedian recognized comedy, and as Will did, he laughed.
Yes.
So then you look at your wife. While you're laughing, you look at your wife, and you know your wife. You know when she's hurt.
Okay.
If she got that look that you've been seeing for the last 25, 30 years, you're like, uh-oh. Then you become, can you become hurt because now your wife is hurt? So you were laughing just a second before, like a light switch. You say, she's hurt. Now,
Yeah.
not saying you would take it to that level that Will did.
Sure.
Right.
Right. Okay.
I think that, I don't know, for me, and I can't speak for other individuals, if I'm going to walk on stage, I'm not going to walk on stage with one slap in mind and then get off the stage. If I have to go to that extreme, then that means that there's going to be some smoke in the city, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not going on stage. I'm going to turn to her and say, look, I got this. I will address that situation. You know what I mean? But I'm not going on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
There
exactly.
you go.
Because if I go up there if I go up there, I'm going to jail. It's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's real
Right.
talk. Go ahead, Joe.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. And I was saying the same thing. I think me and my fiance, we was talking, and I was saying, I get them in the back. You got the green room. You got your commercial breaks. Even when Denzel and Tyler Perry talk to him after the fact, though, you're going to get your commercial break. Hold on. Let me run back here real quick. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hey, man, you know, whatever, either after the show. Okay, you win, best. It's whatever it is. When come on, Will, it was a joke. Joke on me, don't do her. She going through this. If it's what is called again? The disease she got?
Alopecia.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Chris probably didn't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But still, you know, I would have called him backstage. You know, going up there like that, a brother who producing it, now all of a sudden it's, you know, I mean, that's me. I would have I don't think I would have ran up there. You got some people probably would have. A lot of comics I've been looking at. I was off today. I've been looking at TV all day, and they was like, man, he came up here. I would have ran up there, but that ain't the way to do it. Just like the brother said, there's a lot of violence going around, man. That can't resolve into
Let's
that.
look at it this way. Look at it this way. Hey, Joe, look at it this way. You from Chicago. If Bernie Mac did that joke, Will Smith's not running up on stage.
Exactly.
That's right. That's
Bottom
exactly.
line. If it was somebody like Patrice O'Neal. Remember Patrice O'Neal?
Oh yeah.
You know, comic. He's not running up on stage. I mean, Will Smith's gonna sit down and stay right where he want to, you know, sit in that seat. So we got to think about that too. You know what I mean? Because there's some real OGs who do comedy. And then if Will Smith even think about that, Will Smith's gonna get hurt.
Yeah. What's going on, Meech? I see you joined us.
What's going on, man?
I see you joined us. You all, this is my my nephew, you know, all the way down from Atlanta. You know, he's on the podcast, you know, joining us to add his input on the Will Smith. Do you have the will to control your temper? You know, that's the title of the podcast. Meech, what do you think? Do you think Will Smith was wrong?
Meech in the building.
So, from my point of view, like, it's so much to say. Like Unc said, I mean, we just ain't gonna be running up on anybody. You know what I mean? So, I think for me, like Joe said, he could have handled it a better way. He could have took that man backstage. Even if my thing is this, I feel like it would have went viral no matter how it would have went. You could have did that backstage, slapped him if that's what you decided to do. Because your thoughts in your head is, his thoughts in his head is, I'm slapping this guy. So it ain't like I gotta walk up on you and tell you, man, why you say that to my wife, or why you do that on stage. His goal was, I'm slapping this guy for what he did. So do it backstage. They would have had their cameras out just like they did. It's the Oscars. It would have went viral anyway, but it wouldn't have been on the front stage where the Oscars was being done to embarrass that man like that, and also embarrass yourself. You know what I mean? It would have been taken like, okay, well, he handled it as a man, but not doing the job, not doing get you an award. You know what I mean? Like, just do it backstage, man. That's it. I don't see nothing. That's my thoughts on it. Do it backstage.
Yeah, I think too. Let me just add my little input too. What if it would have been Jerry Seinfeld? What if it would have been Jimmy Kimmel?
Right.
What if it would have been The Rock? You
Right.
think he would have ran up on stage and smacked him in?
Nope, he wouldn't have did none of that.
Exactly. Because I'm gonna tell you something. In this world we live in, and this is really hurts me to say this, he wouldn't have smacked a white boy like that.
Nope.
Because you were talking about assault, lawsuit, and everything else in between. The state of California wouldn't have to pick it up.
We pick and choose. People pick and choose who they do stuff to. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They pick and choose who they do to. You
Absolutely.
ain't do that to anybody. So my thing is, how frustrated you was don't matter. Professional. That different way. You know what I mean? And that's just bottom line. We could do this as men. We can handle it backstage. I just feel like Chris held his composure to the point that I don't think he would have did that backstage. I think it would have been a fight. You know what I mean? I think Chris would have wanted to, go there. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, we ain't gonna do this like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask a question, but get that same.
And Will was out of line, man. And you like Joe said, there's so many people saying like they basically saying that it was cool what he did. He took up for a black woman and all that type of stuff. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's a time and a place for everything.
I got you. Go ahead, brother Iman. Go ahead. You were saying something.
Yeah, let me ask the question. Am I the only one getting a sound delay? I've seen the lips move, but then the sound come about 5 seconds later.
No,
Just me.
I don't know if you. I don't know if you
I'm getting it too, bro. I'm getting it too, brother.
Okay, because I don't know when to say something. I don't know if they're done or not.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and let you speak right now. If you got something to say, go ahead.
Question, and I like what Brother Meek, you all saying that Will Smith would not have done that if it was somebody else on stage, in particular, a white person, right? So the question I'm asking, what Chris Rock had made a joke about someone who's up for Oscar that year, if they were white, would he had criticized their wife if they had a disease? So I think this black white thing can go both ways. We maybe this is my thinking. I could be wrong. That we still have that slave mentality. We kind of slow. So we kind of roll slow becoming white folks. Both ways. Chris's way, I think Chris would have been slow to move. You say that about a white woman who had a disease. I think he would have slowed his roll. I mean, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Does that, and we're all saying that Will would have slowed his roll, but would Chris have slowed his roll if it was a white lady with a bald head who had a disease?
I think, in all honesty, I believe Chris Rock is one of those comedians who could probably get away with that. Right.
Yep.
No matter who, black or white, he's been in the game long enough to do something like that. Somebody like an earthquake or some of the other comedians that's still good now. I'm not taking away from them. Like a Cat Williams, they couldn't pull that off because they don't have the potential juice as Chris Rock does because he's been in the game, since the 80s. He's on Saturday Night Live. He in Boomerang. He's Pookie on New Jack City. So he's been around the 30 plus years doing comedy. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that he's one of those comedians that could pull it off no matter if you're black or white.
You know what I think? I think this is what I believe. I believe any comedian could have got away with it. And the reason why I say that is because I don't believe that Chris even did that on his own. I believe that was a written script for him to do. So by it being a written script, it was in the script to say it. I believe that was a joke that was already in his script for him to say that. So I believe that it would have went to any comedian to do. Now I could be wrong, but that's the input that I'm getting, that he was reading from a script.
Oh, it was already staged, basically.
The script was,
they said the Academy wrote it. The Academy wrote it. I heard that too. So
you see what I'm saying? So that's the only reason I would say any comedian would have got away with it. But far as like you said, by him being in the game that long, if it wasn't a script, he would have got away with it because of his status. But just off the what I'm hearing, that it was a written script, anybody could have got away with it.
Right, I got you. Go ahead, Iman. What you got? What give us your thoughts?
Oh, before it's been a written script,
or him getting away with it?
Him getting away with it?
Yeah, him getting away with it.
Well, that I don't follow comedy as much as you all do, so that I'm kind of late to that game. So my conversation has to be taken from that perspective. I'm not trying to But see, Chris didn't get away with it, so that kind of changes the whole situation. Whatever it was, if it was written or not written, it didn't work. It didn't work. So he didn't get away with it.
Well, if you sit and think about it like this, right? Those Oscars, you know, it's amazing how people are positioned in their seats, right? You know, obviously, Will and Jada were up front to be able to, you know, to respond, so the joke itself was given, right? Because what if they was in the back in the corner and up in the bleachers or whatever? Chris Rock couldn't effectively said that joke without them being in front of him, right? So,
I mean,
think
right?
about,
Okay, go ahead.
think about position and time, right? So what I'm saying is, Chris Rock looked down right there at him. Regina Hall looked right down at him, and they were right there, front row center, right? So, in order for the joke to work, they had to be sitting in those seats. Make sense?
Yeah.
Really get the script.
Yeah. So as you know, as Michi said it, as far as the script, I had to think about that for a second. I said, that's touche. That's a good point, because they had to be sitting in front in order for me to tell the joke. I ain't gonna tell a joke to somebody who's 5 rows back. Oh yeah, there he is over there in the back. You know, hey, G.I. Jane 2. That wouldn't have worked. The joke wouldn't have worked. It's no different. The comedians go to, who's that comedian, D.L. Hughley, right? He'll get into a front row, right? He's not talking to somebody back at 6 rows, 7 rows back. So the joke, in order for the joke to work, you had to be sitting up front. So
and when you say get away with it, I'm thinking, as you saying, like he would have been able to get away with it, far as no one touching him. Will Smith took that out of him. I don't think nobody else would have did nothing like that. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, that's my point on getting away with it. Like he would have got away with it, far as not being touched. Nobody would have went out there and did what Will did. At the end of the day, people are.
You lost your audio.
we lost your audio.
Go that route. They had a lot of other things going on to go that route. Him and his wife, they got all this entanglement stuff going, whatever they want to say. He's frustrated, whatever. That's the only reason they trying to make it like that's why he went up there. No other person would have did that. They would have took the joke and laughed. He laughed himself.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? So let's talk. So that's a good segue. Let's shift gears a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
His wife. D-Boz, you said Will Smith is a beta male. I could not agree with you more. Number one, I agree 200%. Straight beta. Okay. Now, with everything going on, his wife messing with what's his name, Augustus Alsina, whatever his name is, and putting them on a red table talk, talking about their personal lives, and you know, and how she just sort of been the whole year or two, last couple of years, they've been in the media. He's been basically demoralized and just kind of put down. His house is out of order. That's the problem. His house is out of order. If somebody made a joke about that about my wife, and I wouldn't have went up stage on national television. I would have looked at him and said, mm-mm. And then cut the commercial. Then I would have went and talked to him after that. But I wouldn't have made a mockery of myself, because once again, the night he won an Oscar, it's the night he's gonna be known for that. Oh yeah, it's the night that Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. Yeah, I remember that. Because boys ain't gonna remember the Oscar. Nobody watches the Oscar.
And to add to that, Baz, is that there's a larger problem that we're all missing. And that problem is that we all come from a community where we have enough problems as it already is. Mm-hmm. We have a ton of issues and problems. The last thing we need is 2 black men on an international stage, not just a national stage, but an international stage with all of these antics and violence. And there it is. And people look at that live in different parts of the world and say, see, that's how they act.
Mm-hmm.
See, There they go. That's how they act. That's why we don't want to live. So when we move into a community and they move out, people be wondering why they don't want to be around, because it's already been we've already checked those boxes, because we demonstrate this behavior, and we all been raised better than that, right? Our parents have raised us better than that. We come from better stock than that. And these guys are in their 50s, right? They're professionals in their 50s, and this is just what they do out there. But at the same time, look at how they've been dragged through since Sunday night. Look at all of the hoopla and everything that has happened since Sunday night, and it's two black men that are on stage. The fact that he's going up on stage to protect his wife and honor his wife, that's all BS, okay? That's just a false narrative that's been pushed out there to be like, we don't have to protect our wives by going on stage and being violent. See, that's the narrative that's being pushed, that we have to be violent to protect our wives. You don't have to be violent. You can protect your wife by doing things in other ways, right? I mean, there's a variety of ways where you can do that. So that narrative, it has no bearing, no weight with me, okay? What we have to look at is Chris Rock. What is that trauma? Now he has to deal with a certain trauma that he's going through now. You know, Will Smith basically gave us an example that he's going through trauma, right? He's dealing with trauma. And each of us in some way are dealing with black male trauma. Now, Chris Rock just added another layer of black male trauma on his list. We got to take that into consideration too when we start thinking about our mental health.
I have a question based upon that, and I like what you said. What can we learn from this? If we had some 18-year-old youth, male, African American youth, 18 to 30 years old, how we use that event from the Oscars, and we play before them, what messages will we share with the 18 to 30-year-old group, do's and don'ts? What can we glean from that? Because if we don't say anything, silence is consent. That's how you handle the situation, and we can't be silent.
Well, you know, it's interesting, as Lola's on this, she's commented that she said, 5 minutes later, you talk about, she's a vessel of love, and in this world. Wait a minute, dude. 10 minutes ago, you just smacked the shit out of somebody. So you mean to tell me now you're a vessel of love, and you didn't even apologize to Chris Rock. You apologized to the Academy. If anything, would have saved him some grace if he would have said, you know what, when I get this award, let me put it down. Chris, come up here, man. I'm sorry, and would have hugged it out or something, and displayed his apology in person the night it happened, versus I'm gonna put it on a social media tweet and apologize to everybody through a post. Let me tell you something. That's the most
coward way out.
Coward, pussy, whatever you want to call it, way out to doing things. He could have.
That nigga couldn't do that. That nigga couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it. She would have divorced. She would divorce his ass that night. Oh, fuck ass nigga, you gonna such. I'm just saying. So he waited. She probably was in another wing of the house. Chris, and all my thoughts and such and such. And come on now. I mean, man, she punked him, man, and I'm a fan of both of them. I like all three of them.
Exactly.
And it's man. It's messed up, man. It is. She put the cables on. I told you, it's just like having a dog, got the leash on him. And right when that had, he laughing, he whatever too, because he knew he was favored to win anyway.
Right.
That's why even when they asked him to leave after when it happened, he wasn't leaving. So he got up there sentimental, he cried, he whatever, still didn't apologize to Chris. But you right, Boz, if he would have been like, Chris Rock, can you come out, please? They probably really gave him a standing ovation.
Exactly.
Could have been squashed.
He could have saved
some. Yeah, on the real, but it's whatever.
Himself.
Even Venus Williams' daddy, Richard, the real Richard, he was like, I don't condone violence unless you've been provoked or somebody,
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So even the sisters was like, man, but
I mean, if you think about what you just said, JD, if you think about Will Smith saying, hey, Chris, can you come on stage? Brother, look him eye to eye, face to face, say, brother, I was wrong. We should never act in that manner. As Black men, we should love one another and love our community, love our wives. And I know you're just as passionate as I am about whatever, this, that, and the other. But if that type of apology, you know what that could have done for all those young people that may have watched that, all these young Black men that are watching this. You know what I mean? That's the type of impact that Will Smith should be trying to have, but he goes the opposite direction, not even willing to give an apology. And that's the types of things that our women need to see and our wives need to see, that Black men coming together, supporting and loving one another.
Exactly. Well said. Exactly. And here's the thing. And his son, he tweeted and said, this is how we roll.
That's how we do. This is how we roll.
He needed to be smacked. He needed to be smacked. I would have gave one of Brother John smacks, brother.
Yeah.
He need one of those.
He in grown folks' business.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, no, brother, you missing the, D-Boss, I would have gave him the 2 fingers, brother. You know what he do.
Yeah.
Brother, you don't understand the message behind the meaning behind the message, brother. I would have went Brother John on him.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, what gives you the right? This man is a father, a husband, and you got to tell him this is what we do. Couldn't even bust a grape. Go drop him off on 79th and Inglewood. Drop him off on 79th and Racine, and let's see how he handles himself. Work it out.
Right.
Exactly. So
and something else too. Hold on, I got one Paul here. It's something else too about the thing with Will Smith is he was quite selfish because that took away from the beauty of the evening, not just for himself, but for the Venus sisters and for the other actors who were going to be. When he got the award, then everyone protest, so to speak, along with it. One speaks out of time. So it was just he was selfish in that regard. And something else came to my mind years ago. I remember him. He was criticizing the other rappers because he never went violent with his rap. He kept his rap kind of playful. And when he won the award, he was on TV saying, "See, I told you didn't have to go to rap. You can do this clean rap and still be awarded."
Right.
So he got that's years back. But all that comes, your whole life comes back up. Get from one slap, your whole life is on judgment.
Yeah.
So.
And let me tell you something. If it would have been Jamil Shabazz, when I'm there to slap somebody, he would have been in cuffs 30 seconds before he got off that stage. Right. So, it's just interesting to me how, that night, I guess the question I want to ask is, was that a win or a loss for Black America?
That's a loss.
It definitely was a loss.
Definitely an L, for sure.
Definitely an L.
Yeah. Because, we sit and think about it, look at Jada. And I wondered, and I said to myself, the $1 million question, is that an example of modern women today? Right? Traditional women wouldn't have did that. Even if my mom and father was sitting in front in that hour, Fatima would have said, "John, now I know you're upset, but you stay put, and you handle that after the show,
right?
Or on a commercial break, and you go talk to him."
Yeah.
And now my dad would have got him and talked to him, and kept it, kept his composure to afterwards. But to get up there in an international platform, like you said, D-Boz,
yeah,
and act a fool, that was a loss.
And it was so embarrassing. You got people saying that they traumatized from this, man. That was embarrassing. I felt bad for Chris, man, but he held it down. He got a W for me. He held it down.
Yeah.
He got the W.
it's definitely we
Give him a
definitely need
lowercase welcome.
to shine light on Chris Rock, man. We definitely need to wrap our arms around him, but also wrap our arms around Will Smith as well, you know, because this is a L for the community. We took a loss there Sunday night, and they definitely need to publicly come together as they did publicly to get this whole thing started, to say, hey, you know what, young men and women in our community, this is no way to behave. You know, this is no way for us to act as adults. I mean, these guys are in their 50s. I think Will's 52 and Chris Rock is 57. You know, been doing this a long time. You know, and I think that those types of examples may not necessarily change the community as a whole, but it sends a message that, you know, there's a resolution to everything. Everything can be fixed, and we don't have to go out and retaliate, so to speak, because that's what we've seen in our communities.
But you're right, Daryl, Uncle. But I believe that the only person that really need to do that would be Will. Will was wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, even after him saying everything he said, keep my wife's name out your mouth, you could hear it in Chris Rock's voice, letting him know, like, dog, if you would have said this to me backstage, or I would have just told you, my bad. I ain't know. I wouldn't do it no more. He stated everything. Like, after you said what you said, he said, keep my wife's name out your mouth. He said, and I will. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just, like, he didn't come back with any extra. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I get where you coming from, dog. I didn't mean to even, you know, disrespect her in no form or fashion. You know, I was basically doing a script, dog. It was nothing to try to embarrass her or make her feel any type of way or anything. I'm being a comedian, my job. This is what I do. And the joke, I promise you, I didn't even care about the joke. To be honest, I didn't care about it. It's like a small laugh that we do when they do these type of things all the time. This is nothing that we've never heard or never seen before. I've seen worse. Like people say, I've seen them crack jokes on people worse. You didn't see them talk about what's his name that played football? His last name Taylor, about him doing crack. And you know what I'm saying? That's like the jokes.
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor. You know what I mean? Cracking jokes on him. I done seen it all. So it's like, dog, a G.I. like he said, it was a G.I. Jane joke. He said that.
Exactly.
Like, what is so bad about what I said, dog? It don't even make sense.
I'm gonna play it real quick, fellas. But I'm gonna play it to the point where you can see Jada's face. Hold on, listen to this.
Please, Lord, Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it.
I love you. I love you.
Now look at Will, right? Look at Will. Do you see a sense of upsetness on his face or mad?
I see him knowing that he's a comedian laughing at the joke.
Right, exactly. Will all smiles too, chilling, legs crossed, all smile. Now hold on now.
But look at Jada.
Right, there's more. Now look at Jada. This nigga here. That's probably what she's thinking. This one, did he really just making fun about my alopecia? Okay. Now, of course, Will's still smiling though. Big smile, Kool-Aid smile. All right. And Chris Rock is smiling.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here.
And now here Will.
Oh,
Richard.
wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of it.
See how he handled that?
Yeah, see how he handled that? Exactly. Hold on.
Wow, dude. It was a G.I. Jane.
Look at Lupe behind him.
I'm going to, okay?
He said, I'm going to. Like, you could have told me this backstage, dog. I would have understood where you was coming from. Like, I never do it again. I get where you're coming from. You said what you had to say as a man. I did what I did on that. I never do it again.
Yeah.
But not you punking me. You're not punking me. I'm just saying that I get it. But you didn't have to do what you just did to tell me to keep my, keep Jada name out of my mouth. You didn't have to just do that.
Exactly. Go ahead,
And
Joe.
I think the Academy wrote that too, man. I think
Yeah, that's
I don't
what I'm
know
saying.
if we you're right, because I think even just reading Latanya comments or whatever that they wrote it, and it was just still just I mean, man, it was a joke, and the Academy probably knew about her alopecia, but he didn't say nothing about her disease. He was just saying G.I. Jane 2, man, can't wait to see it. If you look at it, you can see that. He didn't say nothing about her hair. Oh, shit, you losing your motherfucking hair. God damn, girl, woo, woo, woo. It wasn't none of that. But he was just saying, but
sometimes,
man.
We have things in life we just got to embrace, right? We got to take the bitter with the sweet. My mom said it all the time, take the bitter with the sweet.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to embrace it. And so what? It's clear as day. He said G.I. Jane. The night would have went on. Life would have been what it is. The award would have been, he would got recognized for the award. We would have recognized everybody else, because here's the thing. All this not only did it take away from your boy who did the Oscars, but it took away from everybody else who won too.
It took away everything from everybody. Nope.
Exactly. So
that whole place was quiet.
Yeah, exactly. So what about the best actress? What about the best supporting actor? What about it took away from everybody else too? Nobody else is even being recognized or observed. So
don't nobody even remember the night no more. It's just like that's the only thing to remember.
Yeah, I mean,
nigga party at the after party though. That nigga danced off his motherfucking get jiggy with it and all that shit. That nigga party boy. That nigga hit that motherfucking trophy up. Shit, hey, he was doing him, but we'll see. He'll be there next year, man, because he got to present next year.
We'll
he got to present for the best
charges pressed against him, because state of California can still pick up charges for assault, and they don't care how much money you get.
I think somebody.
And now
you know what? It's bad. You know it's bad when O.J. Simpson got something to say about it. He commented.
Yeah, I know, right?
I understand. It would have been me. I would have. Get your forehead ass down. Sit down.
He said his words was like, Will was out of line. He was wrong.
Okay, all right, hold fast. Time out. Hold on. Dig the move. Okay, let me see. Okay. All right, D-Bars. Let me see. D-Bars, you sitting out there, baby. You out there, and see, I'm trying to see who with you. See, I don't know your people or whatever, but somebody said something whatever about you. You and your wife sitting out there. What do you do? And then it go around the table. You two, Michi, and you two, Bars. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, do you catch them in the back? Do you react? And let's say they've been nicking on you for like so many years. Mm-hmm. So how you play it?
So I mean, and I've had experience with this before, JD. I've had to deal with this on numerous occasions. For me, I'm gonna give him my Denzel. I'm gonna say, my man. If you ever got something that you want to say, you can say it straight. You could tell me. You don't have to do it on stage. I get it. You know what I'm saying? That conversation is going to happen after the fact. That's after the fact. He can say what he want to say. I'm not going to go up there and embarrass my family. I'm not going to embarrass my parents. There's a lot of people that we work so hard to, like Denzel said, we work so hard to get here, right? I'm not gonna embarrass my family in that moment and take away from a black producer director who directed the Oscars. Take away from all the other people that participated and was receiving awards that night, because you really think about it, I don't remember any of those other people. To be honest with you, I mean, if you think about it, that incident took away from the entire evening, right? So in my mind, I don't want to be that guy. It's bad enough that we already have a stain. You know what I mean? And I was listening to Mike Epps last night. Mike Epps said, it's interesting when you have to start from 0. Mm-hmm. As opposed to some people start from 10. Mm-hmm. We've all started from 0. So why would I want to put a stain on that and start from -10? I'm going to do what I got to do to protect my family's image, protect my parents and what their legacy, what they left behind, and what we're trying to move into the future.
Okay, I feel you. All right, meet you. Because sometimes I ain't saying you gutter, but sometimes you got these gutter motherfuckers out there won't stand for it.
Mhm.
So I ain't saying you are, but I'm just saying. So if you sitting there with your lady or your wife or whatever, and they hit you, let's say, well, I don't know your weakness or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
crack on you. How will you take it?
Well, to be there is already like that's amazing. You know, you at the Oscars.
An honor. There you go. It's an
You know
honor.
what I'm saying?
There you go.
So just to be there, I would have just laughed. It was a laughing moment for me. Like, what do I care about that joke? It doesn't matter to. It
But
shouldn't
your
matter.
lady looking at you though.
Huh?
But your lady looking at you. Your girl looking at you, your lady or your wife.
Well, at this point,
you know what I'm saying? So
at this point, what is she gonna do? You know what I'm saying? The joke is on her, not on me. You feel me? And at the end of the day, I feel like she should have been mature enough to take the joke. I mean, it's at the end of the day, we've came to all these type of places where we've been around comedians, and this is our friend. Like I see them with pictures, like we taking pictures together. I've been knowing this person for this long. We've been, I see Chris in pictures with them, so that put me in Will's spot. Chris, you in pictures with me, with my family, my kids. Man, that joke don't mean nothing to me, and it shouldn't mean nothing to her. You know what I mean?
Boy. Now,
okay.
can I answer? Please, can I answer?
Yeah.
Can I answer the question?
You go, Bob.
All right. Now my daughter is listening to me on this podcast, so I want to make sure that I lay it straight. And Lola, you tell me what you would have done if you would saw your dad get smacked on stage, or if I would have been to smack her on stage. So I'll wait for the comments. But here's what I would have did. That Oscar, I knew I was getting, because they know they're getting the Oscar before they call their names. That right there to me. I'm like, listen, okay, you know what? I would have pointed them up. I would have laughed. Said, that's pretty funny. Cut the joke, cut the shit. We'll talk later on. I would have kept my composure, and I would have said, the Oscar, me getting that Oscar would have did for us. That dictates my next paycheck or my next movie. You understand what I'm saying? That dictates the next 50 million a movie I want.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's what that dictates to me. And not only that, it dictates our household.
Mm-hmm.
Because we ain't making money off Set It Off up in here.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't making money off of Hawthorne. We ain't making money off the different world that you was doing back in the 90s. This is the stuff that I'm doing to help maintain our household and our livelihood. So I'm gonna take the L tonight and not show out, because I'm thinking about the long-term game, not the short-term win. And that's the problem. I think about the long-term game, not the short-term win. Because that night, literally, Joe, he lost. He could have won the award, but he really lost.
That's a question I wanted to ask. Yeah. Because if it was scripted, does Chris Rock have the prerogative to not read? Do he have to follow it verbatim because it's written? Because I'm sitting there in light of the words from Denzel Washington to Will Smith, where he says, "At your highest moment, be careful. That's when the devil comes for you." So, and they all know about script, and they know a lot of what they say is not written by them. And if someone gets said, I think it's Jamil, I think he said earlier, they got them sitting. I mean, they meaning the organizers of this whole thing. Who wrote the script, who gonna sit where, and all that. So when Denzel Washington said they, it seemed like he was speaking from experience.
He was.
So
yeah,
the whole thing may have been set up. Now Will overreacted. I'm not going to defend Will's reaction, nor do I defend Chris Rock for saying it, because he got his own brain. He got his own thoughts. Like, I may be going too far, because if everybody knows that Jada can be the way she is, I'm not even in the Hollywood set, but I think she got a history already. Be like, you just don't cross. You know how no, you don't say this to that person, because they're going to You're gonna push that button. So
Mhm.
now, if someone else behind the scene is writing the script, you're gonna sit here, you don't get this, and then because Denzel didn't make that comment just out of nowhere.
Mhm.
You know, Will, you're at your highest moment. That's when they're gonna come to get you.
Mhm.
So it's
Hmm.
not trying to be a conspiracy theory, but go ahead.
That's a good theory, though. That's a good theory. I'm thinking about that because the joke was already wrote, right?
By
Yeah,
who?
exactly.
Right.
Chris Rock just did the script, so
He
the
wrote
joke
it.
the joke
Right.
was
The
already
joke was
wrote.
wrote, and they went after his wife. You see what I'm saying? They
Hmm.
went after his wife,
Hmm.
who he's already weak for, right? So they went after his wife and get him to react. You know what I'm saying?
And that's exactly what
And
happened.
that's why I said the best thing for him to do was laugh it off, like he was doing. He was doing exactly what he should have did. It was a joke. Leave it at that, man.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
what we need is people like Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Denzel
Mhm.
Washington. How they say we're going to get some good out of this pain. We ain't gonna let
Mhm.
this hurt us and not get some benefit out of it. Now the whole world has seen it. What can African Americans leaders in that field do to take that moment, grab it, and say we're going to get the juice out of this berry. We're going to get the juice out of this apple, and make it a teachable moment. What and those who got the clout, I'm saying Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, maybe others, and get them two guys, those two brothers on stage, and say, we're gonna write your script this time. We writing the script, and you are gonna follow.
Yeah, and maybe a black man producing it, but it was a show
Yeah,
some white boys
yeah,
behind it writing it. You know what I mean? So
that's
yeah,
right.
I can dig it. I can dig it. Hey, listen, I thank you all. I thank you all. This is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? This is a beautiful opportunity for me to be on this platform with my family, my best friend, and the Iman himself. Heard so much about you. My brothers talks like you, like he throw you in the air, you turn the sunshine or something. I don't know what's going on with that, but
I don't know, wait,
but nevertheless, this is Michi's first time on the podcast. He's got a podcast coming out too. So he's a podcast. How can I put this? Uh, Apprenticeship and training. But he's bringing something hot, something fresh. My brother Devon's got a podcast. He's bringing something hot and fresh too. Well, he's actually doing something hot and fresh. So I can't say
yeah,
he's bringing it; it's already brought. And JD's been a pioneer on the show for such a long time, and I could not do this without you all. So I appreciate you. I love you straight
thank
up.
you.
And I thank you for taking time to be on Men Speaking Out. Check us out, menspeakingout.com. I'm on all platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, I'm on it.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
check us
blessed
out. We
Ramadan.
thank you all.
Yeah, and I say blessed Ramadan. I think it's going to begin Saturday. I think.
Yeah. So no drinking. No drinking after Saturday, fellas. Get all your alcohol in now.
Ramadan
On
Mubarak.
Saturday.
Someone about it.
Yeah,
Going
yeah.
on Saturday.
The
Ramadan
first day of
What's going on
Ramadan.
Saturday?
is
The first
Ramadan
day
is
of Ramadan.
Oh,
You know what, Jamil, though, I want to say, man, great show. This is what we need. We need more conversations like this because there's so much trauma out there that we deal with that we haven't really addressed. You know what I mean? We've all been through something. And these are the types of conversations that we need to have more of. And I thank you for allowing us the platform to do that.
No
Yes.
doubt, no doubt, baby.
oh
This
yeah,
is
for
Very
sure.
good.
For sure.
we,
Oh,
we,
yeah.
we got nowhere to go but up. That's
But,
real talk. That's real talk. Thank you all. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Love you. God bless.
Love you too, man.
Good.
Love y'all too, man. Y'all, God bless the